Hi, what's up, people? My name is Victor, and I'm about to enroll into a 21 days blockchain challenge. In this challenge, I'm going to challenge myself to answer all the questions that are asked on the Ivanontech Blockchain Fundamentals Academy courses. If you want to learn about blockchain, I highly advise you to take these courses. Ivan does a great job in explaining this. So this is, let's say, a test for myself to see how good I have learned the lessons. By the way, guys, although I'm sitting in a car, I'm not driving, I'm the passenger, so we do everything safe. So question number one, homework on blockchain versus traditional technologies. Question number one, what is the difference between centralized, decentralized and distributed computing? Well, my answer on that is centralized computing. On centralized computing, you have one point of control. So imagine, let's say, Google, for example. Google controls everything regarding Google. Facebook, for example, Facebook controls everything regarding Facebook. So all the network that is running in all the Google network, I will call it a centralized manner of networking. So the second question, or the second part of the question, was distributed computing. So in that sense, I would say distributed computing, the best way to look at that is with an example. Let's see, everybody knows DHL. DHL is this company that takes care of packages. So for me, DHL is an example of a distributed network. So if you want to send your package to the other side of the country, you don't need, and let's say you live in, let me take my example, I live in Belgium, right? And let's say DHL, the head office of DHL is somewhere in the US, right? For example. So if I need to send my package, I don't need to go to I don't need to contact the head office in the US. I can just contact my local DHL office to send my package. So in that sense, I would say DHL is a form of a distributed network, and in this sense, I will also say distributed network is, for me, is just centralized network that has evolved in a distributed manner. So the day that the main office of DHL, the day that the head of DHL falls down, all the other branches will also fall. So for me, distributed network is still a form of centralized network. So the third part was decentralized computing. So for me, decentralized computing is more like power to the people type of thing. So there is no central authority. You who is part of the network are your own authority. So decentralized, the best example is Bitcoin, the Bitcoin network. There is no central figure who decides what needs to be done. The whole network, everybody who is involved in the network decides on what direction the network needs to go. So that is an example of decentralized computing or decentralized network. Second question, what are the benefits of using decentralized network over centralized network? For me, I see two main benefits. The first benefit has to do with security, and the second benefit has to do with governance. On the security part, I will say there is no single point of failure, since there is no central authority. So the security is like impeccable. It's like you can say it's hack proof, right? And for the governance part, it still comes down to no single point of control, because there is no one figure that controls everything. So the network is self-governance, so it's a kind of it's a benefit. It depends, of course, the way you look at it, because a benefit in one angle can be a disadvantage on another angle, but in this way it's a benefit. So the next question is, what are the drawbacks of using a decentralized network over a centralized network? Here I would say decentralized network, the drawbacks has to do with money or cost. A decentralized network is costly, is very expensive, not only financially but also hardware. So to run a decentralized network, you need a lot of computing power, so you need a lot of hardware, and you also need a lot of energy, so you need electricity to run. So I also spoke about no single point of control. So here it's also a drawback, or it's also a con, because if there is no single point of control, this also means that the self-governance speed is very slow. So in order to decide, everybody needs to come into an agreement, and sometimes this can take a very, very long time if people don't all agree on which direction the network has to move in. So it's inefficient to reach consensus in order for the network to develop or adapt or upgrade. That's what I would say. Those were my 3 answers for the first part of the questions. If I made some mistakes, correct me. This is me just trying to test out my knowledge. Thanks for watching, thanks for the feedback. Stay tuned for the next series of the questions. I'm out.